You didn't mean to lose her. You didn't wake up one morning and decide to make her feel invisible. But somehow, in the soft silence between late-night dinners and long workdays, something shifted. You used to feel her eyes on you like fire, curious, open, wanting. Now, they pass over you like you're part of the furniture, something known, something expected. No more sparks, just presence. And if you're honest, a part of you aches at that, not just because the sex has changed, or slowed, or stopped, but because there is a particular kind of loneliness that comes from lying next to someone whose body is close, but whose heart feels far. And maybe the worst part is, you didn't even see it happening. Desire doesn't die loudly. It fades quietly, like a song you forgot was playing in the background. It disappears in between the "I'll be home late" and "Did you pick up the milk?" conversations. And you keep showing up, trying harder, doing more. But it's like pouring water into a cup that's already cracked. She doesn't lean in anymore. She doesn't touch you the way she used to. Or if she does, it feels mechanical, dutiful. Not the kind of touch that says I can't help myself. And that leaves you wondering, what changed? You're not alone in asking that, because this isn't about her being cold, or broken, or not loving you anymore. It's about the tiny, almost imperceptible ways desire dies, not because of big betrayals, but because of the small emotional misalignments that go unnoticed, unspoken, unnamed. The quiet killers. Let's talk about them, slowly, gently, like a conversation at 2 a.m. when everything's still and the truth can finally be told without needing to shout. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And maybe, just maybe, you can learn to find your way back to her. Let's begin with the first thing that kills her desire without you noticing. You pride yourself on being dependable. You don't fall apart when things get hard. You stay calm, steady, controlled. You thought that's what being a man meant, being the solid one, the anchor. So you stopped talking about the things that scared you. You learned to swallow your pain before it reached your voice. You believed that keeping your problems to yourself was a kind of love, a way of protecting her. But here's the truth no one told you. When you disappear behind your silence, she doesn't feel protected. She feels alone. She wants your strength, but not at the cost of your soul. She wants your presence, but not just physically. She wants to know what moves you, what frightens you, what dreams still keep you awake at night. She wants to feel the beating heart beneath the armor. Because when you only show her the polished, put-together version of yourself, you rob her of the intimacy that comes from being allowed into your mess, into your vulnerability. And no, this doesn't mean breaking down every day. It doesn't mean making her your therapist. But it does mean letting her in, even just a little. Because emotional openness isn't weakness. It's an invitation. And without that invitation, she stops reaching, stops asking, stops desiring. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's tired of knocking on a door that never opens. You think you're protecting her, but what you're really doing is disappearing, and she can't desire what she can't feel. There's something that happens in long-term love that nobody warns you about. It starts slow, almost sweet. She reminds you of things, plans the weekend, books the dinners, notices when you're stressed, checks in to make sure you're okay. At first, it feels like care, like love wearing a planner's hat. But over time, the balance shifts. She starts carrying the emotional weight of two people. She notices the silences, initiates the conversations, tries to bridge the distance, again and again, until eventually, without meaning to, you begin to rely on her to steer the relationship. And here is the part that is hardest to see, because it never comes with a dramatic explosion. It comes with exhaustion. You think everything's okay. She's still showing up, still texting, still making sure things move forward. But slowly, under the surface, she's burning out. Because desire doesn't thrive where one person becomes the emotional parent. And that's what she's becoming. She's not your partner anymore. She's the manager of your connection. The one remembering your fights so she can remind you what you said. The one initiating every check-in conversation while you stay quiet, hoping things just smooth out on their own. You're not doing this to hurt her. You're doing it because no one ever taught you that relationships need to be co-led emotionally. That intimacy doesn't just happen. It's built, moment by moment, through shared responsibility. And maybe you're scared of doing it wrong. Maybe you freeze when she brings up something sensitive. Maybe you grew up watching your father shut down, and now silence is your safety net too. But here's what she needs more than perfection: effort. Even a clumsy attempt at real presence goes further than polished avoidance. Because nothing kills her desire like being the only one tending the flame. She doesn't want to lead you emotionally. She wants to feel you with her shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart. And when that doesn't happen, something inside her starts to harden. Not because she wants to, but because she's tired of holding it all alone. She doesn't want to stop desiring you. But over time, she will. And you won't even notice the moment she stops trying. You made her feel safe. That matters more than you know. You gave her stability, reliability, a home inside your presence. You were the calm in the storm when life got loud. And maybe for the first time in her life, she could finally exhale. But here is the hard truth, one that most men aren't too told. Safety is necessary for love. But safety alone is not enough for desire. Because while love wants closeness, desire wants distance, tension, polarity. Desire thrives in the space between two people, in mystery, in curiosity, in the feeling that there is still something left to be discovered, that you are not fully known. But somewhere along the way, in your pursuit of peace, of making things easy, predictable, smooth, you might have made it too safe. Not emotionally safe, but energetically flat. The edges that once sparked between you, the teasing, the mischief, the unpredictability, the heat have been replaced with routine, familiarity, friendliness. You became a good man, a good partner, but you stopped being the man who made her ache. And it's not because you've changed who you are. It's because you stopped showing her the parts of you that make her feel. The part of you that says what he wants without asking permission. The part of you that risks her disapproval to tell her the truth. The part of you that leads not from control, but from conviction. You think that being agreeable will make her feel closer. But sometimes she wants to be claimed. She wants to feel your depth, your wildness, your edge. Not in some cartoonish alpha male way, but in the quiet confidence of a man who knows himself so deeply he can shake her out of her head and bring her back into her body. Because desire doesn't live in nice. Desire lives in aliveness, in play, in spontaneity. In those moments when you look at her like you're starving, and she remembers what it feels like to be wanted, not for what she does, but for who she is. And if you've stopped looking at her like that, not because you don't want her, but because you've become too comfortable, too familiar, she starts to disappear inside herself. And that distance, that silence between you in the dark, that's not just a lack of sex. It's the death of erotic presence. And when she stops feeling that, she doesn't just stop desiring you. She starts questioning if she's even desirable at all. And you may never hear her say that out loud, but you'll feel it. In how she pulls away when you touch her. In how she stiffens when you kiss her neck. In how she's no longer with you, even when she says yes. She doesn't need you to be dangerous, but she does need to feel something. So ask yourself, when was the last time you surprised her? When was the last time you took the lead, not with your body, but with your presence? When was the last time you made her feel like a woman, not just your wife, your partner, the mother of your children, but the woman you still want to devour. She wants to feel that from you. She's craving it, but she won't beg for it. And if you don't bring it, she'll stop waiting. You may not even realize you're doing it. The way your face changes when she starts to cry. The sigh you let slip when she brings up that thing again. The way you look at your phone when she's speaking from her heart. Not to be cruel, not to ignore her, but because part of you doesn't know what to do with that much emotion. You weren't raised to understand it. You were raised to fix things, to solve, to move on. So when she comes to you not with a problem, but with feelings, it might feel overwhelming. You hear her sadness as an accusation, her anxiety as pressure, her disappointment as a personal failure. And so, without meaning to, you shut her down. You say things like, "You're overthinking it. Why are you bringing this up again? You're too sensitive." What you don't realize is that every time you do that, she feels a little more alone inside the relationship, a little less seen, a little less safe, a little more like she has to hide the rawest parts of herself in order to keep the peace. And slowly, something heartbreaking begins to happen. She starts to withdraw, not because she doesn't want to connect, but because she learns that being fully herself with you costs her too much. So she tells her friends instead, or her therapist, or worse, she stops telling anyone at all. And you feel the change, but you don't know where it began. You just know she's more distant, more guarded, less open, less soft. And it's not that she stopped loving you. It's that she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you anymore. And here is the paradox. You don't have to agree with every emotion she brings. You don't have to understand it right away. But if you want her desire her real desire, not just performance or duty, you have to learn how to hold her emotional world, even when it doesn't make sense to you. Because to her, intimacy isn't just physical. It's emotional permission. Permission to feel big, to be messy, to fall apart without being punished for it. When she feels that kind of safety, she softens, she opens, she returns to you with trust. But when she feels judged, minimized, corrected, she closes. And once a woman starts protecting herself from the man she loves, it's only a matter of time before her body follows. Desire doesn't survive where she feels like a burden. She may still sleep next to you. She may still wear that smile in front of friends. But inside, she's already packing her things. And all it would have taken was a few moments of real presence. A few pauses to listen, not solve. A few words like, "Tell me more. I didn't know you felt that way. I'm here. I'm listening." It's not dramatic. It's not flashy. But it's everything. Because when she feels like her emotions matter to you, her body starts to trust you again. And where there's trust, desire can return. You think foreplay starts in the bedroom, but for her, it starts in the kitchen. It starts when you see the exhaustion in her eyes and kiss her forehead without saying a word. It starts when you take something off her plate, not to impress her, but because you see her. It starts in how you text her during the day. Not just "What time are you home?" but something like, "I couldn't stop thinking about the way you looked this morning." It's not about sex. It's about attention. The kind that lingers. The kind that studies. The kind that says, "I don't just love you. I'm still interested in you." You used to speak that language. When everything was new, you noticed her patterns, her moods, the way her voice changed when she was anxious, the songs she hummed without realizing it, the way her body curled inward when she felt small. But now, you think she knows how you feel, so you stop saying it. You think she's tired, so you stop touching her. You think she's fine, so you stop checking in, and slowly, she begins to feel like you only want her when you want something. She starts to brace for your touch instead of melt into it, because the emotional breadcrumbs have stopped, because the warmth, the playfulness, the romance that used to build toward intimacy, is gone. And here's something you need to understand deep in your bones. For her, desire is contextual. It's not just about attraction. It's about how she feels in your presence. Whether she feels seen, chosen, safe to be soft again. Her body isn't a switch to flip. It's a temperature to tend. And when you neglect that emotional temperature, when you go days without eye contact that lingers, when you stop making her laugh, when you treat her touch like a transaction instead of an invitation, her body responds by closing, not out of punishment, out of self-protection. You can't wait until you're turned on to show her affection, because if she hasn't felt emotionally desired all day, she's not going to want to open at night. So ask yourself, when was the last time you touched her just to touch her? When was the last time you complimented her with no agenda? When was the last time you made her feel like a mystery, not a role, not a routine, not a roommate? That's emotional foreplay, and it's where her desire begins. Not in the bed, but in the energy you create with her. In the way you look at her across the room. In the way you hold her when she's not okay. In the way you speak to her when she's doubting herself. It's in the small things. And the truth? It's never really about the sex. It's about how alive she feels in your presence. How wanted, how chosen, how safe to surrender. Desire doesn't just return with technique. It returns when she feels like a woman again, not a helper, not a mother, not a caretaker, but the woman who still makes your hands shake a little. The woman whose heart you still want to win, not because you have to, but because you want to. And if you start showing up like that, the way you did when you were still trying to earn her love, you might just feel her body slowly begin to trust you again, open to you again, reach for you again. Not because she owes it, but because she feels it. And when she feels it, her desire won't just return. It'll reignite. You didn't mean to lose her, but now, maybe you can learn how to find her again. Not by fixing her, not by demanding more, but by becoming the man she can open to again. The one who doesn't just love her, but sees her. All of her, especially the parts she hides. And if you do, you won't need to ask where her desire went, because you'll feel it in the way she looks at you, like the fire never left, just waited for you to return.